Hello all, welcome to the channel. I'm Yashwant, and sorry for the pause. I have not uploaded any video, but yeah, we'll try to be more regular. But from now on, the videos will be weekly basis. Okay, so for every week, we'll try to cover the current topics which are most important to prelims and mains, rather than covering it every day. Yeah, these are the topics that we are going to cover here. So indigenously built green hydrogen power plant. This is about green hydrogen power plant. This is about speaker's responsibility in taking decision on disqualification of members. Starlink's internet services in India now. Nomination of panels of chairperson. This is about speaker. We'll see that. Chromma blood group. Indo-Burma Ramsar regional initiative here. ABBA ID, health ID. Additional judges. Election to office of the Vice President of India, because Vice President recently resigned. India Post Payment Banks. You see, this topic is actually not about the current aspect of it, but I wanted to let you know about IPPB and its static part related to that. And next one is organ transplantation and its regulations laws in India. Ministry of Consumer Affairs notifies amendments in edible oil regulations. And then Tamil Nadu and think about this transgender people. And next topic, India's second position in fish production. So we need to see certain things about fish production. ISRO and its Hope Analog mission in this Sokar Valley, Ladakh, and Mahanadi water disputes and cold pools and environmental, social, and governance framework. This is more important for GS4. NITI Aayog unveils $200 billion electric vehicle opportunity report, India Electric Mobility Index. And we should have more gift cities, more number of cities such as similar to this gift, which is in Gujarat. And Pollution Control Board can impose environmental compensation, says Supreme Court. And the next one is permanent account number and bond switching, Pradhan Mantri, Matra Yojna, Russia and its nuclear commitments. Here we'll see that. And flash floods and hepatitis A, B, C, D, E, that we'll see. Sebakon, krill, and co-lending norms, guidelines improved by RBI, ESOPs, Monetary Policy Committee, and Environmental DNA. These are the topics. Let us, without wasting much time, let us delve into the topic, and we'll see much important part of the topic and any other static related to it. Okay, nothing, no fuss, nothing. Right. First topic is excuse me, indigenously built green hydrogen power plant commissioned at Kandla port. If you guys remember, we already dealt with this green hydrogen long back, and also I told you about different types of hydrogens, right? That we'll see once again. But here at Kandla port, we are trying to have this indigenously built green hydrogen power plant, and 1 megawatt plant which can produce approximately how much? 140 metric tons of green hydrogen annually. Okay, through this mission, National Green Hydrogen Mission, and 140 metric tons. But what about the National Green Hydrogen Mission? Here, the National Green Hydrogen Mission, we have an aim of developing 5 million metric tons per annum. But here we have this 140 metric tons of green hydrogen annually. That you can compare it. Okay, by 2030 we need to get this 5 million metric tons per annum. And who is taking care of this mission? Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And what are the components that we have? Site program is there, strategic interventions for green hydrogen transition, pilot projects for steel, mobility, shipping, that we'll understand from this topic, and development of green hydrogen hubs. And now you see about green hydrogen. Green hydrogen refers to hydrogen produced through electrolysis by splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity. That's how we get this hydrogen. And if the electricity is used to split the water is good, that is a green way of doing it, then we call it as green hydrogen. We'll see about that in detail. And what are the applications of this green hydrogen? It has this industry application, transport application, and also energy storage. In industry, steel production, we can replace this coking coal in blast furnaces with hydrogen. That is what in steel production you will come up with in if I know correctly, or 9th class you will get it, and also in 10th class it is mentioned, steel production, NCRT I mean to say. And refineries and fertilizer plants, we can use it as a substitute for fossil fuel based hydrogen in ammonia and methanol production. And transport, you know that hydrogen fuel cells is there, and energy storage, it can be used as a battery. That is understandable. But extremely important point here is that challenges in green hydrogen adoption. What are the challenges? Challenges is that we have to see this economical viability. Current cost of producing green hydrogen is still high. How much? $4 to $6 per kg, which is a little bit higher. That needs to be brought a little down. And difficulty in hydrogen storage, and it requires high pressure tanks and cryogenic temperature. Cryogenic temperatures are nothing but low temperatures, right? Yeah. And resource scarcity. Green hydrogen production requires up to 9 liters of water per kilogram of hydrogen. For every kg of hydrogen needs to be produced, how much of water is required? 9 liters of water is required, and it costs around $4 to $6 per kg. See, all these things, if you can remember and replicate it in your mains answers, that would be really beautiful. And energy source, electrolysis demands 48 kilowatt of electricity per kg of hydrogen. Okay, so electricity is the main thing here to extract the hydrogen. And how hydrogen can be extracted? It can be extracted in multiple ways, but if you draw a line here and you see here, everywhere some kind of energy is used to extract hydrogen. If that energy is not renewable based, we call it as green hydrogen. If it is nuclear, it is pink hydrogen. Mixed origin grid, then it will be yellow hydrogen. All these way we use electrolysis only, and the electricity is based on these things. And if you come up with blue, turquoise, grey, brown, all these things, these are little bit of pollution occurring. That is why they have colored in different things. So, production via fossil fuels, here production via electrolysis. These are the things that you need to understand here. Steam methane reforming, this autothermal reforming, coal gasification, syngas, all these things we discussed already, okay, in previous class. Next topic is Apex Court recommends Parliament to reconsider entrusting Speaker with decision on disqualification. See, disqualification, let us see the static part here. Disqualification of legislator, how it can be done through 10th schedule, which have come into effect through this 52nd Amendment Act of 1985. Okay, and it entrusted the speaker or chairman in the case of Rajya Sabha, with adjudication for fearless and expeditious decision, and explicitly to avoid lengthy court delays. To avoid these court delays, the power was given to speaker or chairman to disqualify any person. And what are the grounds for disqualification? Voluntarily giving up the party membership, defying party whip during voting, if an independent elected legislator joins a political party, or if a nominated member joins any political party after 6 months from the day he becomes a legislator. These are the grounds for disqualification, and the speaker will take the decision. But here what causing the problem is that speaker is actually not taking the decision in a limited time frame. He takes it like whenever he likes, or whenever all that political like influence will be there. So what Supreme Court is saying, that speaker, please you take the decision within a limited time, and here they are saying that within 3 months. That is what Supreme Court has been suggesting. And what if speaker delays the decision making? It will actually, speaker has to act as a non-partisan basis, like he has to be a very impartial, very neutral person. But if he is not taking any decisions right away, what it will imply, because if speaker belongs to a political party, it feels like that he is listening to the political that party which he belongs, right? So that should not be the case. That is why it has to be taken within 3 months. And see the other relevant judgments here. Holocaust case. In this case, while the speaker acts as a tribunal, Supreme Court accepted that he can act as a tribunal and he can deliver the justice, but it is subjected to judicial review. And also other thing is that unless speaker takes a decision, Supreme Court cannot interfere in that decision. Okay, that is this quia timid actions, preventive injunctions are generally barred. It means that unless speaker takes a decision, the Supreme Court cannot go for judicial review or cannot interfere in that case. And next relevant judgment is Kesham Meghchandra Singh case. Please remember these two at least for sure. KM Singh case, that would also be fine. Kesham Meghchandra case, that would also be fine. Both you can write in your exam. What about this case? It directed the speaker to decide disqualification petition within an outer limit of 3 months. It means that within 3 months we need to take a decision. See, for example, in the UK, speaker has to resign from his political party, before taking the seat as a speaker. So it will ensure that non-partisanship is followed, but not in the case of India. India speaker need not resign from his own political party, but what it will create this partisanship. It will create a sense that he might be listening to the political party leader, right? So these are the problems with the speaker post in India. Okay, and coming to mains answer related, so this is the question that can be asked. 10th schedule of the constitution is more abused than used. Critically examine with reference to recent political developments. You can quote real examples that happened, like in Manipur happened, and also in Karnataka also it happened. You see, 9 Congress members have merged with BJP after elections. That is a ground for disqualification, but speaker did not take any action there. So these are all the problems with the 10th schedule. That how you can do this critical examination, and also you can suggest way forward with what I said. UK, in UK speaker resigns, right? That point you can write in your way forward. And the next topic is Starlink receives license to launch satellite internet services in India. So everybody knows that we have this Starlink project done by this Elon Musk. He wants to place thousands of satellites in on the low Earth orbit, and wanted to provide internet services for connectivity and all, right? But the problem is that challenges. See the challenges here. High cost for end users, much costlier than traditional broadband. If you are getting broadband now cheaper, why would you go for a high cost, right? That is one challenge. And demand supply imbalance. Urban areas already have cheaper, faster broadband alternatives. That's what we are talking about. Infrastructure and technical barriers. High satellite terminal costs, latency and bandwidth concerns. These are all the problems with this Starlink. Otherwise, what is the significance of it? Bridging the digital divide. It offers location independent connectivity, reaching remote regions. Location independent. Otherwise, in traditional way of broadband connectivity, we need to have that wires dragged along to the location, but here that is not the case. It can simply, with the help of satellites, we can reach the remote locations. That is the thing here. And it helps as a boost to disaster management, because geographically difficult areas we can have this internet connection. All these are the significance of it. And support for emerging technologies, all these things, yeah, it's a generic point. And military and national security applications already used by Indian Army, Siachen Glacier, for robust internet access in high altitude regions. See, this is a significance. It is good, but it has also got its challenges. Okay. And next topic is nomination of panel of chairperson. See, I just put this news article here just to let you know about this section 9 in the rules of procedure and conduct of business in Lok Sabha. It states that at the start of session or as needed, the speaker nominates up to 10 MPs as panel of chairpersons. At the start of session or as needed, speaker will nominate 10 MPs as panel of chairpersons. Who are this panel of chairpersons? Any of them may preside over the house in the absence of speaker and deputy speaker. And they can only do so when requested by the speaker, or in the absence of speaker by deputy speaker. Unless they are requested to do so, they cannot become speaker. Okay, that is a point you need to get clarity. Nominated chairpersons remain in office until a new panel is appointed. Please remember, when a member of panel of chairperson is also not present, any other person as determined by the house acts as a speaker of the Lok Sabha. And they cannot preside over the house when the house of the speaker or deputy speaker is vacant. If it falls vacant, they cannot preside. If they can preside only when they are requested by the speaker, or in the absence of speaker by the deputy speaker. These are the points I wanted you to remember. And section 9 in rules of procedure and conduct of business is the regulating law there. And next one is chromma blood group. It is a rare blood group previously unidentified anywhere in the world. It has been discovered. So that is why we need to know a little bit about blood groups actually. We'll see about that. So first of all, let us see the blood groups, blood groupings, and let us understand. The most common type of blood groups that we see is A, B, AB and O. Okay, but we have around officially recognized around 12 to 15, I think. Around 12 blood groups have been recognized all over the world. Most common things that we come across is MNS system, RH, RH plus, RH negative, rhesus factor that you call it, right? So this is one type of blood grouping, and MNS is another, ABO is another, Lutheran is another, NOPS, Duffy, all this like that. Now we have this chrommer also. Chrommer is there, but here this chrommer blood group is little bit different. We'll see that. See, for example, group A, B, AB and O. This is the red blood cell type. How do we classify group A? Antibodies in plasma is anti-B, and antigens in red blood cells is A antigen, and for group B, B antigen is there. For AB, A and B antigens will be present, and for group O, there is no antigen is present. So that is how we classify ABO blood group system. Like that, we have this Kramer blood group system. Now you see, it is a collection of red blood cells antigens carried on the decay accelerating factor. Let us not go too much into details, but understand that this antigen is present on this decay accelerating factor DAF on this red blood cells. Then we can classify it as a CR blood group. See, for example, here. Okay. Next, blood group antigens are molecules on the surface of the red blood cells we have discussed. The blood group system consists of 12 high prevalence and 3 low prevalence antigens. Based on that, we do these calculations and groupings. In recognition of its origin, the new group has been officially named CRIB. CR representing Cromer, IB representing India and Bangalore. That is why it is called as this Cromer blood group CR IB CRIB. It's a rare. What is a rare blood group type? Is when a person's blood type is present only in 0.1% of the population, then we can call it as a rare blood group. That is about this Cromer blood group. And next, Indo-Burma Ramsar Regional Initiative. We understood it is about wetlands because Ramsar is there, and COP15 concluded, and here we are having this IBRRI to support implementation of objectives of strategic plan of Ramsar Convention with IUCN serving as its secretariat. Nothing else, we are just trying to implement this strategic plan and like how to conserve and all, and supported by IUCN's bridge. Bridge is nothing but Building River Dialogue and Governance Project. These are the member states. I don't think you need to remember all these things, but at least have an idea that Indo-Burma Ramsar Regional Initiative is there. It is related to what? Wetlands, and you can use it in the IR related mains answers as well. Next, ABHA-ID. National Medical Commission directs medical colleges and institutes to record Ayushman Bharat health accounts. ABHA-ID. You see, recently for like group 2 in the state PSC, I got selected and then went for certificate verification. In that certificate verification, they asked for medical checkup, medical certificate. So I went to a government hospital which is prescribed by that state PSC, and when I went there, they asked me to register on the mobile to get the token for my ID, like entrance. In that also I got this ABHA-ID, but just by scanning. Okay, that ABHA-ID is this 14-digit number that will uniquely identify patients as participants in India's digital healthcare ecosystem. Your profile will be identified through this 14-digit number. Okay, it is just like your username of Instagram, but here you can voluntarily opt out of it if you don't want, if you want privacy and all. So this is this ABHA-ID. And next, additional judges. Here, pause a little while, try to understand here and try to see. President of India appoints additional judges in the high courts. So it's not the governor, but the President of India appoints additional judges in the high courts. Okay, and what is the power that is derived from? Like Article 224 of the Constitution. For how long he can be appointed? For not exceeding 2 years, and also his age till the age of 62 years. 2 years and 62 years, you need to remember. Additional judge will be there and Article 224. And reason being that any temporary increase in the business of High Court or by any reason of arrears of the work, he can be appointed. And how the appointment must be done? In consultation with CJ of India, the sanction and the sanction strength of High Court judges distributed into permanent and additional judges in the ratio of 75:25. For example, if 100 judges is the total strength, how many additional judges can be there? 25. Okay. President of India appoints in consultation with CJI. Next one is election to the office of Vice President of India. So Jagdeep Dhankar resigned, so it has come into the news here. And what is the eligibility for a Vice President? Citizen of India, has completed the age of 35 years and is qualified for election as a member of Council of States, Rajya Sabha. These are the qualifications, eligibility. And what is the Electoral College? You please try to remember Electoral College of Vice President and also President separately, both are little different. It comprises members of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, elected and nominated. But when it comes to President, there will not be any case of nominated persons in the Electoral College. While removing the President, nominated MPs will be there, but not for election of President. That you need to have a clarity here. So, as for Article 67, Vice President serves for 5 years. Article 68(2) mandates a prompt election in the case of vacancy. So, that is what is going on here. And voting system will be proportional representation by single transferable vote, and it is a secret ballot. Secret ballot, okay. And who's the authority? ECI only, as per this Article 324. And also powers are derived from this Presidential and Vice Presidential Act of 1952. And what is the election procedure of Vice President? We have to have this 20 proposers and 20 seconders, and 15,000 deposit is mandatory. And for President it is 50 proposers and 50 seconders, you must be know. And also they need to deposit 15,000 as deposit for President's election as well. Okay, first preference vote is compulsory. First preference vote is compulsory. If you know the technicality of the single transferable vote, you need to give vote to the first person you prefer, and then you need to go give vote to the second person you prefer. So this first preference is compulsory. And ECI appoints returning officers, generally the Secretary General Rajya Sabha, and observers. And key safeguards followed in elections: no party whip is allowed, because it is anyway it is a secret ballot. No party whip is allowed. Violation of secrecy or use of unauthorized pen will invalidate the vote. You know, a pen will be given, particular pen will be given by ECI to the persons who are voting. By bribery or undue influence is ground for elections challenge under the President and Vice President Election Act 1952. So this is the power. Okay, that is not allowed. Next, India Post Payment Banks. As I told you, this topic is not about the, the current part of it. IPPB has launched Aadhaar based face authentication. That's okay, but let us understand this. IPPB, it's a launched in 2018. Ministry of Communication leverages the extensive portal network to bring banking services to the doorstep of every citizen, and 100% owned by Government of India. This is, you must know, 100% owned by Government of India. Okay. Now this IPPB has launched Aadhaar based face authentication. That is the point here. Next, India achieves 18,900 organ transplants in 2024. But the point is that India ranks third highest globally in total organ transplantations, behind only United States of America and China. So USA, China, and then India. So highest globally in total organ transplantation. So about organ transplantation in India, it's a life-saving therapy for end-stage organ failure, and organ donation and transplantation is required by this law, Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissues Act of 1994, and it was introduced by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Okay, and see here, this legislation aims to regulate the removal, storage, and transplantation of human organs for therapeutic purposes, with strictly prohibiting any commercial dealing. So no commercial dealing is allowed as per this act. And initiatives taken for organ transplantation is One Nation One Policy. See, state domicile, age limits, registration fees are removed for deceased donor organ transplant recipients. And Aadhaar linked digital pledge portal, it was launched in September 2023, enabling over 3 lakh citizens to register their pledge. You can use this in GS4 as well. Okay, compassion, empathy, all these things you can use this Aadhaar linked digital pledge portal. See, Angdhan Jan Jagrukta Abhiyan was launched in 2024. And a program operates through this network. These are all the things: NOTTO, National Organ and Tissue Transplant, and regional and also state. Okay, right. And here one more important point is that despite this growth, India faces a low deceased organ donation rate of less than 1 per million population. For every 10 lakh people, how many are donating? Only 1. But not in the case of Spain. For every 10 lakh in Spain, how many are donating? 48 people. So that is what where we are lacking. The next topic is Ministry of Consumer Affairs notifies amendment in edible oil regulations. See, we are trying to bring this transparency, prevent supply disruption, and ensure fair prices for consumers. For bringing that, we need to we are coming up with this amendments in the edible oil regulations. But let us see the edible oil scenario in India. India is heavily dependent on imports to meet its edible oil requirements, and is the world's largest importer of vegetable oils, followed by China and USA. We are the world's largest importer of vegetable oils, and out of that we have this palm oil dominates the imports. First palm oil, then soybean, and then sunflower. Okay, so palm oil we are importing so much from like countries in the Southeast Asia, like Indonesia or such. So import dependence on edible oils decreased from 63.2 to 54.9. We are trying to decrease it. How can we decrease that? Through these initiatives. What are the initiatives? National Mission on Edible Oils, Oil Palm, and National Food Security Mission, Oil Seeds and Oil Palm. So we are trying to incentivize farmers to grow more such kind of edible oils like palm oil cultivation and all. We are trying to improve. And major edible oil crops in India: groundnut, rapeseed, mustard, soybean, sunflower. You can go through that. Most of them are covered in what is this? MSP. Groundnut is there, rapeseed is there, soybean is not there, sesame is there, Niger seed is there, like that. You go through once. And reasons for high import dependence is that almost 72% of total oil seeds area is confined to rain-fed farming. We need to get it into this irrigated farming. Rain-fed farming in the sense we have to wait for the rain to come, then only we can cultivate more and more, right? So 72% of the total oil seeds are in this rain-fed zones. That is one problem. That is why we are going for this import. Lack of appropriate technologies, cultivation under input starved conditions are some of the major causes for poor productivity. Okay, that's about this oil seeds, and we are trying to get amendments. The next one is Tamil Nadu government launches state policy for transgender people. So interesting. Let us see here. So Tamil Nadu government launches state policy for transgender people. So what they are trying to do, let us see. The policy seeks to protect the rights of transgender people in education, employment, healthcare and housing and safety. That's okay. They are trying to do this by amending the Hindu Succession Act and Indian Succession Act to ensure the right of inheritance for transgender people. Here you need to understand inheritance is a concurrent subject. That is why this Tamil Nadu is trying to amend the acts, Hindu Succession Act, Indian Succession Act. So it will allow the right of inheritance for transgender people as well. So the policy allows transgender and intersex people to choose their gender. They can choose it male, female or transgender without needing medical procedure or certificates. They can choose just simply. Okay. But who is a transgender? A transgender person is someone whose gender identity does not align with the gender assigned at birth. Okay, that's the problem, and it was defined through this act. Population is 4.8 lakhs approximately, census 2011. Remember, a ballpark idea must be there. Okay, for example, how many disabled people are there in India? That is how like 2% of the population or 2 lakhs of the population. What that rough idea has to be there. Okay, and this Nalsa judgment, Supreme Court recognized transgender individuals as a third gender and affirmed their fundamental rights under the Indian Constitution. And what are the issues faced by transgender persons? Gender identity. See here. A 2019 Act mandates certification of gender identity by district magistrate, infringing on the right to self-identity. You see, you have to go to a district magistrate and ask him for this certification of gender identity. So, it infringes on the right to self-identity, right? So that is what the problem is, and here the Tamil Nadu state is trying to rectify that. And what are the schemes for welfare of transgenders? SMILE, National Portal for Transgender Persons, Gender Inclusion Fund. We have discussed this in National Education Policy, if you can remember. It has been 5 years since the rollout of national education policy, right? In that topic we discussed. Gender Inclusion Fund is there, Garima Grihas, shelter homes for transgender persons, PM Daksh, for skill training to transgenders, Dakshata aur Kushalata Sampann Hitagrahi. And what is the SMILE? Support for marginalized individuals for livelihood and enterprises. Next, Union Minister reiterates India's second position in fish production. So this topic is about fish production. So let us try to see the scenario of fish production in India. So India is the second largest fish producing country after China, and 8% of share in the global fish production. It's a really good number. And the fisheries sector in India, fisheries is listed in state list. However, union government supplements the efforts for the development of the sector. So we have this Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojna in that way. So inland sector is by and large the domain of state governments, while marine sector is shared responsibility between central and coastal state governments. Okay, inland fisheries will be state, marine will be both state and coastal state. Central and coastal states. Inland fish production constitutes about 75% of the total fish production. So it is much more inland than the marine things. Fisheries constitute about 1.12% of total national GVA and 7.26 of agricultural GVA. Around 30 million people involved. You see, why I am trying to tell all this is that if there is a question about fish production in mains, you can just open your answer with this data and it will be beautiful. Okay. Next, what are the initiatives taken? Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojna, aquacultural parks, Blue Revolution scheme, and this FIDF, Fisheries and Aquaculture Infrastructure Development. We also have Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. In that similar lines, we have FIDF. Fifth Marine Fisheries Census for data-driven policy making, and India's endorsements to Regional Plan of Action on IUU. IUU you will come across very frequently, illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. That is nothing but this IUU. Especially you can come across that in Sri Lankan border, where bottom trawling is a case. You know, Indian fishermen will go to the Sri Lankan border and do this bottom trawling. Okay, IUU, illegal, unreported, unregulated, all these things. Okay, that's about the fisheries sector. And next, ISRO inaugurates HOPE analog mission in Sokar Valley, Ladakh. What is this HOPE mission? HOPE is nothing but Himalayan outpost for planetary exploration. It is a specially designed habitat module for crew living and a utility module for operation. So see, why are we trying to get this is that we need to see why Sokar Valley was chosen for Mars-like conditions. In Mars-like conditions, we have this high UV radiation, low atmospheric pressure, extreme cold and saline permafrost. All these can be found in this Sokar Valley, Ladakh. That is why to replicate that planetary feel, we have chosen this Sokar Valley, and there what we are trying to do this, all this habitat module and experiments have been conducted in this HOPE analog mission. What is this HOPE analog mission? It is led by ISRO's Human Spaceflight Center. It wants to stimulate extraterrestrial environments like Moon and Mars. So stimulation, it's just stimulation, enables the testing of human survival, health protocols and equipments in space-like environments. Studies to be conducted on different things, samples will be collected, taken there, and experiments will be conducted. And what about this Indian human spaceflight program, Gaganyaan? It envisages demonstration of human spaceflight capability by launching crew 3 members to an orbit of 400 kilometers for a 3-day mission. For 3 days, we need to take 3 members to an orbit of this 400 kilometers. We need to bring them back. That is also a task. And the rocket we are being used is LV-M3 rocket. And major milestone planned is this: integrated airdrop test, pad abort, unmanned flights and manned flights. All these things are also very important for your exam perspective. UPSC mains, they might directly ask to write about the submissions of Gaganyaan program. Pad abort, unmanned, manned. Unmanned will be there, few will be there, manned few will be, sub projects will be there. All these things you need to have a clear idea. If I remember correctly, in a state PCS, one of Telangana state PCS, I think they have already asked about unmanned flights programs, mains only. Next one, Mahanadi water dispute. So Mahanadi, it flows from this Odisha and Chhattisgarh only, and what happens is that upper catchment areas belongs to Chhattisgarh and lower thing belongs to Odisha. What happening is that Chhattisgarh is constructing some kind of barrages over that river. What it will, what will happen? Water flow from Chhattisgarh to Odisha will reduce. Also, Odisha will suffer a little bit. So that is the problem here. So to resolve that, Mahanadi Water Disputes Tribunal 2018 was constituted under Interstate River Water Disputes Act 1956. And what is the constitutional article backing it? Article 262. Empowers Parliament, not President or central government. Parliament to adjudicate such disputes. Next. And this is the Mahanadi river I was talking about, and the barrages are being constructed here, and Odisha is asking for some other changes. Next, cold pools. So what are these cold pools? See, understand this, cold pools. This is a region, and this part, cold breeze or cold blockage will be there. This part will face extreme colds. You need to understand the reason why it happens. See, for example, when rain falls during a storm, some of it evaporates before even reaching the ground. This evaporation cools the air, making it heavier. Heavier air will reach the ground. The cool and heavier air then sinks and spread out across the ground like a shallow cold bubble. This is a cold pool. You see here from the diagram, see, precipitation is occurring. Even before the rainfall reaches this ground, some of them will evaporate. This evaporation will create a cool situation. Cool means dense. Dense air will subside to the ground. So what will happen? Cool air will be spread across a patch on the ground. That is nothing but cold pool. Okay, that is a mechanism, nothing else. Okay, right. A new study by researchers at University of Washington says rain sometimes makes the ocean surface heavier and more stable due to cold pools. So it's counterintuitive actually. Why? Because if rain occurs, what will happen? Ocean surface will not become heavier because fresh water will be there. But here what's happening? Ocean surface is getting heavier here. It's counterintuitive. So that is why you need to be very careful here. So cold pools are small scale areas of evaporatively cooled downdraft which is coming down, that is downdraft air that spread on the surface underneath the precipitating clouds. So this is about this cold pool. I hope I've made it clear. The next topic is that environmental social governance framework. This is extremely crucial for your GS4 answers. See, because we are trying to have some kind of accountability by the companies here. What kind of accountability? Environmental social governance framework. See here, ESG refers to a set of standards to measure a company's environmental and social impact, how good they are responding to this environmental problems and social impact they are creating. That is nothing but this ESG report framework. Key observations on ESG. Legal backing. See, Companies Act 2013 does not mention ESG explicitly. It is implied through aspects like energy conservation, POSH Act, maternity benefit. It's like spread out in different forms. It is not stated explicitly. Okay, that is, you need to remember that thing. And existing risks. Greenwashing, inconsistent implementation across sectors, and the difficulties faced by small businesses in adopting robust ESG practices. For small businesses, ESG is a difficult task to achieve. These are the observations. And what are the recommendations? What are the problems here? The problem solutions will be the recommendations only. Dedicated ESG oversight must be there for the Minister of Corporate Affairs to monitor and disclose all these things. An amendment to Companies Act to provide a legal backing, and formulating sector specific guidelines for this micro, small and medium also. Independent ESG committee must be there to implement and monitor, and documentation is a good recommendation here. Dedicating an ESG chapter in Ministry's annual report from 2025-26 onward. These are the recommendations. And other similar initiatives. Business responsibility and sustainability reporting. You see, in GS4 ethics, if you come across a question asking about your opinion on corporate governance, corporate ethical governance, or such things like that, you can quote this business responsibility and sustainable reporting. Also you can quote this ESG. Okay, what is this business responsibility and sustainability reporting? Mandatory for top 1000 listed companies to make ESG disclosures, and BRSR core introduced by SEBI for monitoring of greenwashing, corporate social responsibility. CSR section 135 of Companies Act of 2013 makes it mandatory for companies of certain turnover and profitability to spend 2% of their average net profit for the past 3 years on CSR activities. How much they need to spend? 2% of their net profit, not 2% of their revenue, not 2% of their turnover, but 2% of their net profit. Okay, they need to spend on CSR activities. Next, NITI Aayog unveils 200 billion electric vehicle opportunity report and India Electric Mobility Index. Let us understand this India Electric Mobility Index first. It's a pioneering tool by NITI Aayog in partnership with World Resource Institute in India to benchmark states' EV progress. It assesses 16 indicators across 3 core themes. What are these 3 core themes? Transport electrification progress, charging infrastructure readiness, and EV research and innovation status. Okay. See, transport electrification progress is nothing but how well the vehicles have been electrified now, not depending on fossil fuels, and how good charging infrastructure is there, and EV research and innovation. All these 3 are the core themes. And what are the challenges highlighted by the report? Challenges of financing vehicles, inadequacy of charging facilities, and lack of adequate awareness, and inadequate data and regulatory gaps. These are the problems. Okay, and recommendations of report. What are their recommendations? Shift from incentives to mandates. It means that right now we have been given incentives for shifting towards electric vehicles, but it has to be mandated. That's what they are trying to say. Disincentivizing internal combustion engines. Okay, and expanding corporate average fuel efficiency, CAFE norms, and financing. Offer low interest, financing has to be done, transport infrastructure has to be improved. All these things are basic general recommendations only, but you need to remember India Electric Mobility Index is given by NITI Aayog. That is utmost important from exam point of view, and you need to remember these 3 core themes. Next, develop more gift city like financial centers in major metro cities, Standing Committee on Finance. So what is this gift city? Gift city, it was established as special economic zone in 2015. It is designated as a non-resident zone under Foreign Exchange Management Act. Non-resident zone, that is. So what are these functions? It has this favorable tax structure, trusted regulatory environments, ease of doing business. For improving all these things, we have this gift city. So favorable tax structure, it offers cross-border financial products and services within a competitive tax environment. Okay, what is the regulatory body here? International Finance Service Center Authority, IFSCA. It was established under this IFSCA Act 2019. And what is the current status? This gift city ranked 46th globally. Remember it, globally. So this standing committee is saying that we need to get more and more number of gift cities like this. What are the committee's recommendations? Committee recommendation is for us to have this fintech clusters for this innovation. More and more fintech clusters must be there. For example, China has this 10 centers, possess multiple financial hubs. So like that we also need to have. That is a recommendation. Simplification of taxation regimes, reducing compliance burden, all these things are also recommended here. That's about gift city. Next, a pollution control board can impose environmental compensation, says Supreme Court. Actually, see, in this case, Delhi Pollution Control Committee and Lodha Property Co. Supreme Court has overturned Delhi High Court's ruling, which held that only courts could impose environmental compensation. So Delhi High Court was saying that only courts can impose penalties. But now Supreme Court is saying that not only courts but also pollution control boards can also impose environmental compensation, because it works on this polluter pay principle. Polluter pay principle. Whoever is polluting, he needs to pay. Okay, that can be imposed by this pollution control boards as well. That is a ruling here. And pollution control boards in India, let us have a brief look at it. Central PCBs, statutory organization under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and constituted under Water Act and Air Act. Okay, na? Initially by this Water Act 1974, also it was entrusted with the powers under Air Act 1981, and we also have the state pollution control boards. What are the key highlights of this ruling? Statutory mandate. PCBs can impose penalties for environmental compensation in exercise of powers under Section 33A of Water Act and Section 31A of Air Act. Okay, and polluter play principle has to be followed here. Appropriate course of action. Boards can decide whether a polluting entity needs to be punished by imposing a penalty or to demand immediate restoration. That can be decided by pollution boards as well. Yeah, and see this Supreme Court in Vellore Citizen Welfare Forum in 1996 also held that liability for environmental damage includes both compensatory and remedial aspect. Compensatory is a mostly it's monetary wise, money can be given, and also remedial aspect, both has to be there. That is a judgment in Vellore Citizens case. Next topic, permanent account number. Everybody know about this permanent account number. So the problem, I don't want to know about this thing, but this PAN 2.0 project, no, it's not about that. It's about this TAN. You must know about TAN as well. Tax deduction and collection account number is a 10-digit alphanumeric code issued by IT departments for entities responsible for TDS and TCS. Okay, TDS and TCS. We have TAN number also along with PAN number. That's what I wanted to show here. Right. And next one is bond switching. See, Bank of Baroda study shows that government has saved 560 crore in interest costs through bond switching. So let us understand what is bond switching. For example, mechanism through which government replaces existing shorter duration sovereign bonds with longer duration papers. It means that I took a loan of 1 lakh, I need to pay within a year, okay, but I don't have money. So what I can say, okay, let's just have a deal. I'll pay this 1 lakh after maybe 3 years. Okay, what I'm trying to do here, short term loan has been replaced with long term loan. Similar way, shorter duration sovereign bonds with longer duration papers are replaced by government. So it means that government now can pay in later times. The same bond can be paid in later times, not in the shorter run. Okay, that is how interest payments can be avoided. By that, India saved around 560 crores. It can be done with market participants or directly with the Reserve Bank of India. Smoothen the government's liability profile while ensuring market development. Okay, this is nothing but this bond switching. Let us see this example here. Bonds maturing in financial year 27, 28, 29 being replaced with bonds maturing after 32, having lesser repayment pressure. If Indian government has to pay in the financial year of 27, it will create pressure on the finance of India, right? What if I replace this financial year 27 bonds with the financial year 32? Till financial year 32, I need not bother about it. Okay, Indian government need not bother about it. It has got how many 5 years around to take care of its economy. Okay, that is what this bond switching is. Next, Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojna, Ministry of Women and Child Development. It is a centrally sponsored scheme under Mission Shakti's sub scheme Samarthya. It is basically this financial assistance through DBT given to pregnant women and lactating mothers, and it is in line with Section 4 of National Food Security Act 2013. And what are the cash incentives here? 5,000 is provided in 2 installments for the first child, and 6,000 is provided in 1 installment post birth for the second girl child. Okay, so 5,000 in 2 installments for the first born child, but 6,000 in 1 installment for second girl child. Okay, These are the cash incentives. Ministry of Women and Child Development. Next, Russia officially ends commitment to 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. See, let us see here. As key reasons for this, Russia cited recent US military actions, including what happened is that USA, they posted 2 nuclear submarines near Russia. How can USA post their nuclear submarines near Russia? So that infuriated Russia, and they said that we are not no longer committed to this 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. So we don't want this treaty. That's what they are saying. But what about this INF treaty? It is signed between USA and the Soviet Union in 1987. The treaty required to destruction of all ground launched ballistic and cruise missiles with a range, this range. They need to destruct all these things. But now Russia is saying that we will not follow that anymore. That treaty is nothing to us. That's what Russia is saying. And you see here, such nuclear arms control agreements are there. Not only INF treaty, we have this treaty on non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, NPT, and strategic offensive reduction treaty, SORT, is there 2002, and recently New START is there, and then treaty on prohibition of nuclear weapons. All these are nuclear arms control agreements, and one other agreement is this INF treaty. Now Russia is not following that anymore. That is a point here. And coming to this nuclear governance all over the world, you see, it all started here in 1945. Atomic bombing happened over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and also after that Eisenhower has given this Atoms for Peace speech, and after that nuclear energy for peaceful purposes have come into picture. And after that, who has formed in 1957? International Atomic Energy Agency. I already discussed about this long back. And after that, we have this 1963 Partial Test Ban Treaty. Underwater, over the surface of the earth, no nuclear weapons must be tested. That is this Partial Test Ban Treaty. And next we have this Non-Proliferation Treaty. Non-Proliferation Treaty comes in 1968, but it come into force in 1970 though. But what about this Non-Proliferation Treaty? Non-Proliferation Treaty is about this nuclear technology must not spread to other countries. That's what this Non-Proliferation Treaty. And the most important point here is that it recognized P5. P5, you guys know, UN Security Council, we have this permanent chair, right? All these P5 countries have been now designated as nuclear powers with this NPT 1968. But India got furious. India said, how can only those 5 can be called this nuclear power states? It's very unfair, right? And they went for Pokhran 1, and the test was successful, and internationally what happened? Nuclear Supplier Group 1974 has come into picture post India's Pokhran 1, and then Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty has come in place because India's Pokhran 2 happened next, Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, and after that India has come up with this nuclear doctrine. And in 2005 we have this India-US nuclear deal where USA agrees to support India in this nuclear area, peaceful use of nuclear energy that can be held here. And recently, what are the recent changes? MTCR, Missile Technology Control Regime, Wassenaar Agreements, Australia Group, all these are technology transfer things, technology transfer agreements. Okay, these are the latest development in nuclear governance. And India is now trying to get into nuclear supplier groups where China is opposing. Next, see, we had this in Uttarakhand, flash flood happens, right? So I just wanted to show you here. Flash flood happens through this cloudburst. Cloudbursts are nothing but if a 10 centimeters of rainfall is received at a station in 1 hour, okay, within 1 hour 10 centimeters of rainfall occurred, then it is called as cloudburst. Cloudburst happens usually in this way. You see, orographic rainfall only. Orogeny means when air moves upside a hilly area, the air get cooled and condensed. The particles will condense and it forms into a cloud, and rain will occur. That is this orographic lifting, right? So generally what happens is that air is getting lifted here, but violent upward flow of air prevents the condensing raindrops from falling to the ground. So violent upwards will stop the rain droplets to come to the ground. What will happen? The rain droplets generally get bigger. Okay, the whole of the stored water falls at a time. So what will happen? Steep slope causes flash floods. More and more sudden burst of rain will happen because of that. So that will create flash floods. Okay, that I wanted to mention here. Next, here anthropogenic factors. Extreme rainfall events have increased in India as global temperature rises. Next, who has classified hepatitis D as cancer causing like hepatitis B and C? See, this topic is about hepatitis. It's a viral hepatitis and are the major causes of acute liver infections. So hepatitis related to liver infections only. It is of these 5 types: 1, 2, 3, 5, A, B, C, D, E. Okay, but here are certain things that you need to remember. Only hepatitis B, C, D can lead to chronic infections. B, C, D can lead to chronic infections, not A and not E. But other thing you need to remember is that hepatitis D only causes if a person is affected with hepatitis B. Remember it. Okay, and there is no vaccine for hepatitis C. For hepatitis C, there is no vaccine, but I think China has been developing a vaccine recently. But in India, at least, there is no vaccine for hepatitis C. And other things, we have vaccination, but for hepatitis D vaccination, we can take the vaccination of hepatitis B, and you know why, logically. Hepatitis B vaccine provides protection from HDV infection. And what are the global impact? Hepatitis type B, C, D affects over 300 million people, which means 3 crore people, sorry, and it causes 1.3 million deaths. And key initiatives for this: National Viral Hepatitis Control Program to eliminate hepatitis C by 2030. And key challenges is that it has got this low diagnosis. Only 13% of hepatitis B and 36% of hepatitis C were diagnosed. Okay, poor vaccine coverage is there. But remember the basic points I told you. How many types are there? Vaccine is there, vaccine is not there for C. All these things you need to have an idea, and it is about this liver problem. Liver cirrhosis can be caused. And next topic is Sebakon. See, Sebakon has been in news because experiments on board the International Space Station flown by NASA's Crew 11 mission, they are doing experiments on the Sebakon and buckwheat. So Sebakon is a deciduous shrub tree, pioneer species for soil improvement, wind and sand control. See, look at the species, it will be good with soil and water conservation, right? Yeah. So this is Sebakon actually, and say hi to this person. And well adapted to live in cold areas of high altitude. Even if you look at him, you can understand it's a cold area. High nutrition value, health benefits are there: antioxidant, anti-cancer and anti-inflammatory properties. This is this Sebakon. So if you come across Sebakon in an exam, don't put shocking face. The next one is krill. Krill actually looks like this, like a prawn only, but krill is a little different one. It's a special crucial marine food chain, is under increasing pressure due to fishing, climate change and growing demand for its omega-3 oil. It has got this omega-3 oil and is also used in fish meal, pet food and human supplements. So what about this krill? It's a small pelagic crustacean found mainly in Antarctica Ocean, North Atlantic and North Pacific, and mostly towards the temperate zones. And what is the ecological role? It acts as a keystone species in Antarctic ecosystem and primary food source for whales, seals, squid and seabirds. Travel in large swarms. A study found that this is important, most important. Krill removes 20 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere each year. 20 million tons of carbon from atmosphere each year, and it is a keystone species. So what is a keystone species? Keystone species It's a species whose addition to or loss from an ecosystem leads to major changes. If we take out a lion from a ecosystem, what will happen? The other predators like deer and all will grow in large number, right? So it's a keystone species. Presence of that keystone species will maintain the structure of that ecosystem. That is this keystone species. And what about the indicator species? It will indicate the health of the ecosystem. For example, lichens. If lichens are present, it means that the air is much more fresh. Okay, if the air is polluted, lichens will not grow there, very unlikely to grow. That is the indicator species. And what about endemic species? Endemic species is nothing but which is particularly grown in that region, native to a single specific geographical location, that is endemic. For example, Western Ghats, we have this line-tailed macaw, this one, and Nilgiri Thar, right? Red panda in eastern Himalayas, all these are endemic species. So look how cute this is, flying squirrel, Eastern Ghats. Next, invasive alien species. As you all know, invasive alien species are nothing but you and I. You are IAS, we are IAS only. Invasive alien species, we are trying to invade every other technical department. Now, an exotic species which is introduced in an area. So I'm not explaining much about this, but remember Prosophis zulifora, lantana camara or something like that will be there. Common water hyacinth. At least remember 3, okay, for you to understand. This is Prosophis zulifora. You very commonly come across in roadside. It has been brought from other country, not an Indian thing. And next one is President's rule. Parliament extended President's rule in Manipur by 6 months. That's, we're not bothered about it, but the point is that when it will be imposed when President believes the state government cannot function as per the constitution, that we also know. And President can take over state government functions, powers exercisable by governor or authority in the state other than legislator of state. Okay, so state legislature power, it cannot be taken from this President's rule. And declare that Parliament will exercise the power of state legislature. Who can do it? Parliament can do it, not President. Okay. Duration, it can be revoked or varied by subsequent proclamation. It can last up to 3 years, but must be approved every 6 months by Parliament. Again by Parliament. This President's rule can be approved using simple majority. Okay, but national emergency, special majority. Okay, remember. Next, environmental impact assessment. In Vanashakti Union of India, Supreme Court struck down the centre's exemption. Center has exempted certain industries to be put in place if they followed eco-friendly measures. But that exemption was struck down by Supreme Court. Why? Because court held that all large construction projects over 20,000 square meters affect the environment and must follow clearance processes under Environmental Impact Assessment 2016. So EIA notification 2006, prior environmental clearance is mandatory for construction of projects more than 20,000 square meters. And for that, projects have been classified into 2 types, category A and category B. Category A, the clearance will be given by central government. For category B, it will be given by state environmental impact assessment authorities. But there is a flow chart you need to understand how a project will be given environmental impact assessment clearance. See, first the proposal will be identified and it will be screened. After that initial environmental examination, if there is no EIA is required, then it's good to go. If EIA is required, it will go for scoping. Scoping is nothing but this public involvement, and after that impact analysis is done. After that mitigation and impact management is there. EIA report will be formed and review must be done. For this review also public involvement must be there. Okay, first screening, then scoping, then report will be given. After this review, decision is taken. If it is not approved, redesign and resubmit. If it is approved, implementation and follow up. Okay, this is the flowchart for environmental impact assessment for this category A, category B. Okay, sorry if I am going little fast. You can pause it and have a look at it. Right. RBI tightens co-lending norms to improve risk sharing and transparency. This is a really good initiative by RBI. See, they are saying that co-lending agreements between banks and non-bank finance corporations have been improved here through these acts. And what is co-lending here? One regulated entity can enter into lending agreement with other regulated entity. So what is the point for that? What is the significance of co-lending? There is a benefit for banks as well. Increased penetration in the remote regions due to NBFC's last mile connectivity. Generally, NBFCs has this last mile connectivity, and with the help of co-lending, banks can also improve their penetration. And for NBFCs, shared credit risk. NBFCs are riskier when compared to banks. If they co-lend, their credit risk can be shared, and also cheaper capital. For consumers, more and more money is available in the market for borrowing. So for consumer, it's good. And what are the key highlights of the revised directions? Minimum share must be there. Each regulated entity to retain a minimum of 10% of the loan, 10% share of the loan. And priority sector lending status. Each lender can claim PSL status for its share under co-lending. It's a good thing. And uniform assets classification. It means that if one regulated entity classifies its asset as a non-performing asset, other regulated entity also must do the same. And interest rate will be depending on the weighted average of both of or any of the persons who are involved there, regulated entities. Their average is taken as the blended interest rate. Next, employee stock option plan, ESOPs. It's very famous, ESOPs it is called. Even Unacademy also rolled out this ESOPs, right. It's a benefit scheme where companies offers employees the option to buy shares at a predetermined price after a specific period. See, for example, if I start a company and a new employee has joined, and after that after few years of success and hard work, and it went for stock options, and for the loyalty of the new employee who joined and stayed with me for a long time, I can offer him share prices at a predetermined prices. That is this employee stock option plan. Not only for a loyal employer, like something like that, for a predetermined price, the shares can be offered to the employee. That is this employee stock option plan that you need to understand. Okay. Regulation is done by SEBI for listed companies and Companies Act for unlisted companies. Income Tax Act 1961, it will always be there, like air around atmosphere. And Monetary Policy Committee. Here also very simple topic only, as everybody knows here. What is the composition of Monetary Policy Committee? 3 from RBI, 3 from central government, and the quorum is 4 members minimum. RBI governor will be ex officio and meeting at least 4 times a year. Okay, but right now RBI is doing 6 times a year. It means that for every 2 months they are meeting. Much more prompt. Okay, that also you can use in GS4 ethics. It will be very unique way to use it. More accountable, more prompt and all that. And constitution based on this section 45 ZB of RBI Act 1934. The topic is that MPC has not changed this repo rate, kept it at 5.5 only, maintaining a neutral stance. Not hawkish, not conservative, but neutral, 5.5. So each member will have 1 vote, but governor will have this casting vote in case of equality of votes. The last topic for today is environmental DNA. See, environmental DNA is nothing but a genetic material left by organisms itself. Okay, organisms in the environment. See, for a water, soil, air, some genetic material will be left by organisms, right? That is nothing but this environmental DNA. It includes DNA from cells, tissues, fluids, excrement, everything. So it's a non-invasive, highly sensitive and also cost-effective thing. So this is this environmental DNA. So scientists are now focusing on modern tools such as this for analysis for biodiversity conservation. Yeah, that's about it. So I hope I made some sense here and it is useful for you. Yeah, see you in the next class, probably in the next week. Thank you.